months of homeownership is making sure that you're financially ready. So stick around until the end of this video so that you can have clarity around how much money you really need to buy a house. I know that you're wondering what you'll need for a down payment. We are going to go over down payment requirements and different loan options. However, there are a lot of costs that go into buying your first home, and I want to make sure that you're prepared. So we'll go over a couple of other things first. First, you have your closing costs. Just like the name suggests, these are literally your costs to buy the house. Now, these can vary widely by state, city, and township. So you'll want to find out what closing costs are in the particular areas where you're looking. They can even vary by school district. Closing costs are things like transfer tax, title insurance, closing fees, lender fees, inspections, appraisals, and broker fees. And if you're thinking, boy, that seems to add up, you are right. You can expect to pay anywhere from 1.5% to 6% of the purchase price, and this is on top of your down payment. So if you're purchasing a $300,000 home and you're looking in an area where closing costs are 6%, that means that your closing costs are $18,000. And remember, this is on top of your down payment. Definitely want to find out what closing costs are in your area early on. Next, you have reserves. Reserves are the money that your lender requires for you to have left over after closing, after you've paid your down payment and your closing costs. The rules and requirements for getting a mortgage can always change, but as of now, it's November 2021, there is no reserve requirement for conventional FHA or VA loans. This means that you are not required to have any money left over after closing for these specific loan types. Now, if you go with a different loan type, maybe like a jumbo loan, then you may be required to have reserves per the lender's requirement. Our next category is not required by the bank or anyone else. It's just my recommendation to you. I would strongly recommend having at least 3 to 6 months of savings left over after closing. If you haven't seen my video of what to budget for after closing, I'll link that here. But you're going to be a homeowner and you never want to be in a position where if the heater breaks or if your sink is leaking, then you can't afford to fix it. Start homeownership on a strong foot and aim to have that 3 to 6 months set aside. All right, the moment you've been waiting for. How much do you need for a down payment? Today we'll discuss the minimum down payments for each of the most popular loan programs. But keep in mind, again, just my recommendation is that you focus more on what you're comfortable with spending monthly and out of pocket than really focusing on what the minimum is. Because of course, the less you put down, the higher your monthly payment is going to be. And you're going to be making these mortgage payments for a long time every month. So you really want to make sure that it's a payment that you're comfortable with. All right, so without further ado, one of the most popular loan programs is probably a conventional loan. If you're a first-time home buyer, you can put down as little as 3% on a conventional loan. Of course, granted that you qualify for the other requirements like credit and income. If you're not a first-time home buyer, then you need to put down at least 5% for conventional loans. Our next most popular loan program is FHA loans. Contrary to popular belief, FHA loans are not just for first-time home buyers. However, they are popular among first-time home buyers. With FHA loans, you can put down as little as 3.5%. Another popular loan program is the VA loans for veterans. If you are a veteran, thank you for your service. Minimum down payment for VA loans is 0%. Another popular program is USDA loans for rural areas. The down payment for those are 0%. Jumbo loans, which exceed the conventional loan limit, will generally have a down payment requirement of around 5%, but it will depend on the specific bank, so you'll want to check on that. Now, if you're watching this and you're like, wow, down payment costs, maintenance costs, closing costs, I'm never going to be able to make this happen. There are 2 options that you might consider. The first option is called a lender credit. A lender credit is when you exchange a slightly higher interest rate in order for the lender to give you money back at closing so that you can reduce your closing costs. Again, it's November 2021, so this may be different, but rates are around 3.125, which is historically pretty low. Maybe you take a 4% interest rate in exchange for a few $1,000s back at closing. An interest rate of 4% is still historically low, then you don't need to bring quite as much to closing. Your second option is called a seller assist. And I do want to warn you that a seller assist may not be possible depending on how competitive the market is where you're looking. Seller assist is when you basically roll closing costs into the purchase price and therefore your loan, so you're not paying paying for them out of pocket. The downside of a seller assist is that the home still needs to be worth whatever the new purchase price is. So if you are going to offer a seller $290 and you want $10,000 of a seller assist so you don't need to bring that much to closing, now the new purchase price is $300,000 and the home has to actually be worth $300,000, even though technically you're only giving the seller $290. Conventional loans, you can do up to a 3% seller assist, and with FHA loans, you can do up to a 6% seller assist. Well, there you have it, how much money you'll really need to buy a house. Let me know what questions you have in the comments and hit subscribe to be notified every week when I release a new home buying tip.